Do you know what it's like to create a fake person just to prove your worst fears are real? I do. 3 months ago, I catfished my own husband. I created a fake Instagram profile, carefully crafted her to be everything I'm not, and watched him fall for her in real time. He failed the test spectacularly. And now I'm sitting here with screenshots of conversations I wish I'd never seen, knowing things I can never unknow, facing a choice that's going to destroy my life either way I go. My name is Rachel. I'm 32 years old and I've been married to Tom for 7 years. Before you judge me for what I did, let me tell you how we got here. Because this didn't start with me being some crazy paranoid wife. It started with tiny things, little inconsistencies that I told myself meant nothing, until they added up to everything. Tom and I met when we were 23, both working at a startup that crashed and burned within a year. We bonded over the chaos, started dating during the company's death spiral, and somehow turned disaster into something beautiful. He was funny and ambitious and treated me like I was the most fascinating person he'd ever met. We got married 2 years later in this tiny ceremony at a vineyard, just family and close friends, and I remember thinking I'd won the lottery in terms of life partners. For the first 5 years, we were solid. Not perfect, nobody is, but good. We bought a house in a suburb we could barely afford, adopted 2 cats, built careers that kept us busy but not resentful. We had our routines: Friday night Thai food and bad movies, Sunday morning farmers market runs, Wednesday gym sessions together, even though we both hated the gym. We were one of those couples people described as goals, and I believed it. I really did. The change started about a year ago. Nothing dramatic, just shifts. Tom started spending more time on his phone. He'd be scrolling through Instagram for hours, laughing at things he wouldn't show me. When I'd ask what was funny, he'd say, "Just memes," and quickly lock his screen. He started taking his phone into the bathroom with him, started sleeping with it face down on the nightstand instead of face up like he always had. I told myself this was normal. Everyone's on their phones too much. It didn't mean anything. But then other things started happening. He'd come home from work later than usual, always with reasonable explanations: traffic, last-minute meetings, stopped for groceries. But when I'd check the grocery bags, they'd have random things we didn't need, like he'd gone shopping just to make the alibi real. Our sex life changed too. We went from twice a week to maybe twice a month. When we did have sex, he seemed distant, like he was going through the motions. Once I caught him with his eyes closed the whole time, and I wondered who he was thinking about. I tried to talk to him about it, asked if everything was okay, if he was still attracted to me. He said he was just stressed about work, that I was being paranoid, that everything was fine. But everything wasn't fine. I could feel it in my bones. That instinct women have when something's wrong, when the person you've been with for years suddenly feels like a stranger. I'd catch him smiling at his phone with this expression I didn't recognize. I'd walk into a room and he'd quickly switch apps or put his phone down. He started password protecting everything when he never had before. I tried to ignore it. I tried to trust him. I tried being a better wife, thinking maybe I was the problem. I dressed up more, initiated sex more, planned date nights. He went through the motions, but his heart wasn't in it. And one night, about 4 months ago, I watched him texting someone while we were supposed to be watching a movie together, and he was smiling this private little smile that used to be reserved for me, and I broke. I went into the bathroom and cried. Not dramatic sobbing, just silent tears, while I sat on the edge of the tub trying to breathe. I knew something was happening. I just didn't have proof. And without proof, what could I do? Accuse him based on feelings? He'd just deny it, and I'd look crazy and paranoid, and our marriage would get worse. That's when I had the idea. I'm not proud of it, but I'm being honest here. I thought, what if I could create a situation where he had the opportunity to cheat and I could see what he'd do? If he passed, I'd delete everything and work on my trust issues. If he failed, at least I'd know I wasn't crazy. So I created her, Ashley, 26 years old, blonde, into fitness and travel and all the things I'm not. I used photos from a friend of a friend who lives in Australia and has a small following, someone Tom would never recognize. I made her profile look real, not too polished, candid shots, regular posts about her daily life. I gave her a job as a marketing consultant that required travel. I made her single and looking for connection. I spent 2 weeks building Ashley's online presence before I ever contacted Tom. I had her follow and interact with people in our city, join local groups, post about restaurants and bars Tom and I went to. I made her real enough that if Tom looked into her, she'd check out. Then one Tuesday night, while Tom was next to me on the couch scrolling through his phone, I had Ashley send him a DM. Just a simple, "Hey, I think we matched on Bumble a while ago but never connected. Small world seeing you pop up in my suggested follows." Tom and I had met on Bumble. I knew he'd remember the app fondly. And sure enough, within 2 minutes, his phone buzzed. I watched his face change. Confusion, then interest, then this little smile. He typed back. I couldn't see what he wrote from where I was sitting, but Ashley's phone showed me everything. I'm not on Bumble anymore. Happily married, actually. But small world indeed. How've you been? Happily married. Those words should have made me feel better. They didn't. Because why respond at all? Why not just ignore a DM from a woman claiming to be an old match? But he engaged. He responded. And in that response, I saw the opening. Ashley wrote back, "Oh, congrats on the marriage. I'm honestly just looking for friends in the area, new to the city and don't know many people. No weird intentions, promise." He bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. Over the next week, they messaged constantly. Ashley would ask about good restaurants. Tom would recommend places. She'd ask about his job. He'd talk about work stress. She'd share photos from her marketing trips. He'd react with interest. They talked about music, movies, their shared hatred of cilantro. And he never once mentioned me. Not my name, not my existence, nothing. To Ashley, Tom presented as a married man who was bored and lonely and excited to have a pretty girl paying attention to him. He started messaging her during the day, during meetings, while we were having dinner together. I'd watch him across the table, smiling at his phone, typing to the woman I'd created, while I sat right in front of him. After 2 weeks, Ashley suggested they meet up. Coffee sometime. Would be nice to put a face to the name. Tom hesitated. I saw the 3 typing dots appear and disappear several times. Then, "I'd like that, but I should probably mention I'm married. Just want to be upfront about that. If you're cool with just being friends, I'm down for coffee." Friends. Such a careful word. Such a deliberate boundary. Except his next message was, "My wife works late on Thursdays. Would that work?" My wife works late on Thursdays. Like I was an obstacle to navigate around. Like our marriage was something to schedule around, not a commitment that should have stopped this entire conversation from happening. I had Ashley play it cool. Thursday works, and totally respect the married thing. Friends is perfect. Then I added a winky face, just to see what he'd do. He sent back a laughing emoji and, "You might be trouble." He thought she was flirting, and he liked it. I spent the next 3 days in a fog, going through my normal life, teaching my classes. I'm a high school English teacher, grading papers, talking to Tom about mundane things, while inside I was screaming. Because I'd created this test thinking maybe I was wrong. Maybe he'd shut it down immediately. Maybe he'd tell me about it and we'd laugh about some random woman DMing him. Instead, he was planning to meet her. He'd lied by omission about his marriage for 2 weeks, and now he was going to physically meet this woman at a coffee shop on a Thursday when his wife was conveniently not around. Thursday came. Tom told me at breakfast that he had a work thing after his shift and would be home late. Didn't mention coffee with Ashley. Didn't mention anything. Just kissed me goodbye like it was any other day and left. I called in sick to work. I'd never done that before for something that wasn't actually illness, but I couldn't teach teenagers about symbolism in The Great Gatsby when my marriage was imploding in real time. I spent the day tracking Ashley's messages with Tom, watching him confirm their meeting time, watching him say he was looking forward to it. At 3 p.m., I texted him as myself, "How's your day going?" He responded 20 minutes later, "Crazy busy, might be late tonight." Another lie, another casual deception. How many had there been that I didn't catch? At 4 p.m., I got in my car and drove to the coffee shop. I'd chosen it specifically, a place we'd never been together, but close enough to his work that it made sense for him to suggest it. I parked across the street where I could see the entrance. He arrived at 4:30, 15 minutes early. I watched him walk in, order something, sit at a table by the window. He kept checking his phone, adjusting his shirt, running his hand through his hair. He was nervous, excited, like this was a date. And then I realized I'd created a situation I couldn't control. Ashley couldn't actually show up. There was no Ashley. I'd have to text him some excuse, cancel, and leave him sitting there confused. Or I could walk in there myself, confront him, blow this whole thing up. I sat in my car for 45 minutes, watching my husband wait for a woman who didn't exist, and I couldn't make myself move. Finally, I had Ashley text him, "So sorry, emergency at work. Rain check?" He watched it read it, watched his face fall. He texted back immediately, "No problem. Hope everything's okay. Definitely want to reschedule." He sat there for another 10 minutes, finishing his coffee before he left. I followed him from a distance. He didn't go home. He went to a bar, sat alone, ordered a beer, stared at his phone. I parked and watched him through the window, this man I'd been with for 7 years, and I didn't recognize him at all. He came home at 8 p.m., told me the work thing ran late. I asked how it went. He said, "Fine, boring, the usual." I asked what they did. He made up details about a meeting that never happened. I watched him lie to my face with such ease it made me physically sick. That night, while he slept next to me, I went through Ashley's messages again, reread everything, looking for the exact moment he'd crossed the line. But there wasn't one moment. It was 1,000 small choices, each one leading him further from me and toward a woman who didn't even exist. I kept the messages going. I know I should have stopped. I know I'd already proved what I needed to prove, but I couldn't stop. I needed to see how far he'd go, how much he'd risk, whether any part of him would wake up and realize what he was doing. Ashley and Tom rescheduled for the following week. Same time, different coffee shop. This time, I didn't go. I couldn't bear to watch him wait for her again. Instead, I had Ashley cancel an hour before, citing another work emergency. He was disappointed but understanding, suggested they try for drinks the next week instead. Drinks, not coffee. The boundary was shifting. I confronted him that night. Not about Ashley. I wasn't ready for that yet. About us. I asked him directly if he was happy in our marriage, if there was someone else, if he wanted out. He looked genuinely shocked, said of course he was happy. There was no one else. I was being paranoid. Was this about him working late? I almost told him everything right then, but something stopped me. Maybe I wanted more proof. Maybe I wanted him to actually cheat, to give me clear justification for leaving. Maybe I was just addicted to the pain of watching him betray me. I don't know, but I kept going. Over the next month, Tom and Ashley's conversations escalated. They talked every day. He'd text her good morning before he texted me. He'd shared things with her he never told me. His frustration with his job, his worries about money, his feeling that his life had become routine and boring. To her, he was vulnerable and open. To me, he was distant and dismissive. They finally met 6 weeks after that first DM. I had Ashley suggest a wine bar this time, somewhere romantic and dimly lit. Tom didn't hesitate. He told me he had a work dinner. I tracked him to the bar, watched through the window as he sat there, checking his watch, straightening his collar. This time, I made Ashley show up. Or rather, I paid someone to show up. A grad student from the university who needed money and didn't ask questions. I gave her the Ashley profile, told her exactly what to say, had her wear a wig and clothes that matched Ashley's photos. I watched my husband's face light up when she walked in, watched him stand, smile, hug her like they were old friends, watched them sit down together, order drinks, lean in close to talk over the music. I sat in my car across the street, taking photos on my phone, documenting my own heartbreak in high definition. They stayed for 2 hours. He was more animated than I'd seen him in months, laughing, gesturing, completely engaged. At one point, he put his hands on her arm. She pulled back slightly. I'd told her to maintain some distance, to keep him interested but not let it go too far, but he didn't seem to notice. He was too busy enjoying himself. When they left, he hugged her again, longer this time. I saw him lean in like he might try to kiss her, but she turned her head and it landed on her cheek. She said something, smiled, and walked away. He stood there watching her go, then headed to his car. He came home at 11 p.m., smelling like wine and someone else's perfume. Told me the work dinner ran late. Asked about my day. I told him it was fine. We went to bed. He fell asleep immediately. I laid there until dawn, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what I'd just done and what I was going to do next. The grad student sent me her account of the evening. He talked about his wife, me, exactly once, said we'd been together a long time, that things were complicated, that he wasn't sure he was happy anymore. He'd asked Ashley about her dating life, whether she was seeing anyone. When she said no, he said, "That's surprising, you're incredible." He'd suggested they do this again, soon. I paid her for one more meeting, told her this time if he tried anything physical, let it happen, document it. I needed to know how far he'd go. But I couldn't go through with it. The night before their second date, I broke down, told my best friend Maya everything. She was horrified, said I needed to either confront him or delete Ashley and try to fix my marriage, but that continuing this was driving me insane. She was right. I'd lost 10 pounds in 6 weeks. I couldn't sleep. I was drinking too much. I was destroying myself in the process of catching him. So I ended it. I had Ashley text Tom, "Hey, I need to be honest with you. I'm not who you think I am. I was hired by your wife to test you. I'm sorry. She has screenshots of everything. You should talk to her." I watched him read it. We were in the same room. I was grading papers. He was watching TV. I saw his face go white. Saw him reread it. Saw the panic set in. He got up, walked to the bathroom, stayed in there for 15 minutes. When he came out, his eyes were red. He sat down next to me. Didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, "Rachel, we need to talk." "Yeah," I said. "We do." He cried. I'd never seen him cry before, not in 7 years. He told me he was sorry, that he'd fucked up, that he'd never meant for it to go that far. He said he was confused about our marriage, felt like we'd become roommates instead of partners, didn't know how to talk to me about it. He said meeting Ashley, meeting fake Ashley, made him feel wanted and interesting, and like he was more than just a husband going through the motions. I asked him if he'd planned to cheat on me, physically. If the grad student had been real and willing, would he have slept with her? He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "I don't know," he said finally. "Maybe. I was headed in that direction. I'm not going to lie to you anymore." I asked him if he loved me. He said yes, but he didn't know if that was enough anymore. He said he'd been unhappy for a while and didn't know how to fix it. He said he thought maybe we'd made a mistake getting married so young, before we really knew who we were. I asked him why he never talked to me about any of this, why he'd rather talk to a stranger on Instagram than his own wife. He said he didn't know. He said he was sorry. He kept saying he was sorry, like it was a magic word that can undo months of lying. Then he asked me why I'd done it, why I'd catfished him instead of just asking him directly if something was wrong. I told him the truth, that I'd felt him pulling away for months, that he'd become secretive and distant and I knew something was wrong, but every time I asked, he said everything was fine, that I'd needed proof I wasn't crazy, that I'd created Ashley to either confirm my worst fears or prove them wrong, and I'd gotten my answer. "So you lied to me too," he said. "You created this whole fake person, hired someone to meet me, manipulated me into revealing my worst impulses. How is that any better than what I did?" "It's not," I said. "We're both liars. We both broke this marriage. The difference is I was trying to save it, and you were trying to escape it." We talked until 4 in the morning, circling the same arguments, the same justifications, the same pain. He kept saying he wanted to fix this, wanted to go to counseling, wanted to prove he could be better. I kept saying I didn't know if I could ever trust him again, didn't know if I could forgive this, didn't know if love was enough when respect was gone. Finally, exhausted, we went to bed, slept on opposite sides like strangers, woke up and had the same conversation all over again. That was 6 weeks ago. We're in this weird limbo now, still living together, still married on paper, but in every way that matters, we're separated. We're sleeping in different rooms, we barely talk except about logistics, bills, the cats, whose turn it is to do dishes. We're seeing a marriage counselor twice a week. The counselor keeps asking us if we want to save this marriage. Tom says yes immediately, emphatically. I can't answer. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about catfishing your spouse. Even when you get the confession, even when they admit everything, you still don't have closure. Because now I know he was capable of cheating, willing to lie, ready to throw away 7 years for some excitement, but I also know I manipulated him into revealing that. I created the temptation. I pushed him toward a line and then judged him for crossing it. Would he have cheated had Ashley not existed? Maybe, probably. He was already emotionally checked out, already lying, already scheduling his life around my absence. But I'll never know for sure, and that uncertainty is eating me alive. Maya keeps telling me to leave him, says I deserve better than a man who'd throw away our marriage for an Instagram DM. My mom says I should try to work it out, that all marriages go through rough patches, that testing him was wrong and now we're even, and we should start over. Tom's friends, the ones who know, are split. Some think I'm crazy for catfishing him. Others think he's lucky I'm even still talking to him. Nobody knows what the right answer is, including me. I look at Tom sometimes and I see the man I married. Sweet, funny, the person I thought I'd grow old with. Other times I look at him and I see a stranger. Someone who lied to me every day for weeks. Someone who was excited to meet another woman, who called me an obstacle, who might have cheated if I'd let it go far enough. Can you forgive someone for something they almost did? For intentions that never became actions because you stopped them? Do those near misses count as betrayal or just as human weakness? I don't know. I spend most of my time feeling either ragingly angry or desperately sad, with no in between. I've imagined leaving him 1,000 times. I've also imagined staying, forgiving, trying to rebuild. Both futures seem equally impossible and equally inevitable. Last week, Tom asked if I'd delete all the screenshots, said we couldn't move forward if I was holding evidence over his head. I told him I would, eventually, but not yet. I need them right now. They're proof I'm not crazy, proof my instincts were right, proof this really happened. Without them, I'm afraid I'll gaslight myself into believing I overreacted. He said keeping them meant I hadn't forgiven him. He's right, I haven't. I don't know if I can. Yesterday, I created a new Instagram account. Not a fake one this time. My real name, my real photos. I posted for the first time in months. Just a picture of my coffee cup with the caption, "Starting over." Tom liked it within minutes, then texted me, "Does this mean you're staying?" I don't know what it means. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I can't keep existing in this suspended state of almost divorced, almost reconciled, almost moved on. So here's my confession. I catfished my husband. He failed the test spectacularly, and now I don't know what the fuck to do about it. I'm not asking for advice. I've heard it all already. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it any more than he does. I'm just saying it out loud because I need someone to know the whole truth, that I broke my marriage trying to save it, that we're both guilty of betrayal in different ways, that love isn't always enough when trust is gone. In therapy last week, the counselor asked us to each say one true thing. Tom said, "I love you, and I'm sorry, and I want to fight for us." I said, "I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." We're going back tomorrow, and the day after that, and probably the day after that, trying to excavate something salvageable from the wreckage we both created. Maybe we'll make it, maybe we won't, but at least now we're both being honest. Finally, painfully, completely. That's what catfishing my husband taught me, that the truth is rarely clean or simple, that betrayal comes in different forms, that sometimes the person you're trying to catch is yourself, your worst fears, your darkest impulses, your capacity for cruelty disguised as self-protection. I wanted answers. I got them. And now I have to live with what I learned. So what now? I honestly don't know, but I'm done lying. To him, to myself, to everyone. This is the truth. Messy and complicated and unresolved. And maybe that's the only real confession there is.